Hello Kerbalords and welcome to my multiplayer server part 2. There's some good news, or hopefully, at least if I can find out about it. Anyway, let's get to what we're doing at the moment. First off, we're going to start with our two Kerbals. You can see Walking Raven here coming out on EVA. He's going to grab some parts and he's going to be trying to build the streetlights that we were planning on trying to build on here for the Minmus village. So first off, I'm going to build a test run, see if it works okay. If it does, then we can carry on, and then perhaps we can build, a house or a town hall, I think perhaps someone said. So yeah. Anyway, as we're doing that, perhaps I can talk a bit about problems I've been having with the server. I logged onto the server, I was trying some different settings, and I tweaked one of the settings out of the parameters that KSP normally allow you to. And so, what happened? I logged into the server. The Kerbal I had out on EVA, which was Kerbal 1.1.1, as in 1.1.1, the Fallout Vault, he had disappeared. Yes, he had gone AWOL. In fact, when I checked, he was back at the Kerbal Space Center. So, I hyper-edited him back onto Minmus, put him back onto the Lander Craft. As you can see, the Lander Craft is different to the one we had on Minmus originally. And so then I logged out thinking everything was okay. Next time I logged in, the lander with all the parts in it had disappeared. And when I checked in the Kerbal Space Center, all the Kerbals were missing in action, at least the ones that were in the lander. But here's the thing, Kerbal 1.1.1 was on the surface of Minmus on his own. Yes, I figured that one out. And when I went to go to him, he turned out to be a different Kerbal, and I forgot the Kerbal name at the moment. But I had to get that Kerbal back into the Kerbal Space Center, and what I decided to do was send another lander as he got here. And if you remember, originally we needed engineers to actually build things, and we've only got 2 engineers. Only 2 you guys turned out to be engineers, and I'm sure it bases if you're an engineer or not on your name or something. I still have to look a bit into that. But here we go. We've put the first part on the was it the strut connector? I think that base part was, but that's going to be sort of like the base part. And I put a probe core on there because I think the server deletes debris. Now, if we just place any old item down, I'm sure it'll be registered as debris. Okay, there's the radiothermolytic generator. And obviously, I can't do all the parts in one go because the Kerbal's inventory is only so limited. Perhaps what I could do is build a mini rover where I could have all the parts put into on the smaller containers. And we'll work something out. At the moment, I'm just testing this. So who have we got? A Walking Raven again. He's the commander of this outfit. He is the chief engineer, you could say, of the Minmus village. Well done, Walking Raven. You've been promoted. So what have we got to do? Oh yes, I wanted to get one of the struts out. And, well, I think it's, where is it? Girder. If I leave myself enough time. It's not allowing me to attach it in there, put it in my inventory. I'm not sure why. Oh yes, volume. Now I remember. I was doing this post-commentary, by the way. I tried to empty my inventory, tried to load him up again, but no, it's not having it. And if you look at the number, it says ×5. Yes, you have to split the parts, then drag it over. Oh, how daft of me. Anyway, that's how I normally work out how things work, rather than reading a manual, going through all that effort. I tried to do it on the fly. Yes, that is my way. That is the Kerbal way, isn't it? Isn't that how you have all those rocket explosions? You try, you fail, you try again, and you succeed. Anyway, as we're doing this, perhaps I can talk a bit about what we're going to do with this server. Well, it may be possible that I can upgrade this to version 1.0.5, and I want to upgrade it before I add any more people on here. And how to do it, I suppose, is there's a hot fix, or there's someone's per fix on there, not the developer of the mod, but add the extra parts in version 1.0.5, like the shuttle engines, into the mod list. And apparently that works. It's worked for him. However, there have been reports... Ooh, yes, look at that. Well done, Walker Raven. He can attach parts by doing somersaults at the same time. These are ninja engineers. Yes, I couldn't get up there, and I wasn't too confident on standing on the top of the pylon and then attaching it. So that's what I did. I do decide I'm going to have to put it a bit higher, so yeah. Anyway, going on back to the upgrading the server, before I add any more people, I'm going to be trying that out. I'm going to have to have one of my friends test it out for the time being, and if it works out, great. But there were reports about the people flying around the KSP couldn't see each other's planes. Now that could be the bubble limit, and perhaps the person who tested it didn't know about this. You can set a bubble around the Kerbal Space Center so that when you're launching a vessel, you're not going to crash into each other on launch. As soon as you leave that bubble, then you load it into the server and you're basically part of the server then. That's basically how it works. Anyway, there are 3 people, and you 3 people should know who you are. I've got you down on a list to join the server as sort of like the first tier of people. Yes, gotta put it high. First you have to detach the part. Grab it. No, you haven't grabbed it. You have to keep hold of it. And by the way, Kerbals are strong when they're on the Minmus. Well, obviously because the gravity's low. Anyway, those 3 people I will add to the server, but not all at the same time. Perhaps one at a time. We also have to agree on how we're going to have the server. Is it going to be sandbox like we have now, where we got full creativity and building? Or do we do it in science mode? And perhaps science mode or career mode, and then you have to earn the parts by doing science. In the science mode, we can do all the science, and once the science reached, it'll be basically sandbox. However, if we do it in career mode, that means you got money restrictions. So that means you have to go out to earn money for every, every mission. And yes, the street light works. And it's handy because the sun's just gone down as well. And if you notice on the other side, Kirby has risen in the background. So yes, we're going to have to work things like that out, but that's going to be everyone in the mix on deciding that. Anyway, I want to do another mission. People have been asking me to do interplanetary mission, so that's what I'll do on the server. I want to see how it performs with, multiple missions. So let's go do that. Okay guys, what else we're going to do is go to Duna. Yes, someone asked for an interplanetary mission. That's what we're going to do on the server. Now, I'm not sure if any of you guys want to have your Kerbals, whoever added your Kerbals to it, because not all of you are in the Minmus village at the moment. So if you want to just add it to the Duna mission, say so and I shall do it. Anyway, let's go ahead and plan what we're going to do. First off, I want to build the main body of the ship. And let's use my lovely method of clipping parts together at fuel tanks and pretending they're structural parts instead. Because it seems to work on the asteroid base I built. Okay, what we're going to do is add a lander, obviously, so we can land the Duna. But I also want to move about around the Duna. Now, in a previous build I made on version 0.19, which I couldn't complete the mission because they updated the game, and therefore I lost everything. Well, I didn't lose it, the save's still there, it's just that at the time I didn't want to bother continue with it because the new parts were available, and I think it was 0.25, or is it? I can't remember. Anyway, the point is, I don't want to build a rover because landing, I want to explore the Easter eggs on Duna. I'm not sure how many Easter eggs are on Duna. I'll have to look that up because I need to know where to land. Sorry, you may have heard a beard scratch there. Yeah. So, what we need for the Duna mission, we're going to launch a couple of modules up into orbit around Kerbal. So it's going to be maybe 1, 2, 3 episodes perhaps. Or I could build a lot of these off camera. Let me know in the comments below if you want me to build this on or off camera. Yes, I need to know. We also need a return capsule, because what we could do is launch this, get this to there, jettison most of the load, and we'd have a lighter load on return. Okay, so this is going to be the main ship. It's not going to be the transfer part, and in fact I may not want this on there. So if I change the root part, we'll use a command pod actually, but I'll use the lander can because I want the main engines to be pulling, and there's a good reason for having the main engines to pull. That is because if you push it and for some reason you get wobbly rockets, everything bouncing all over the place, although I will add struts to it from the Kerbal attachment system mod so everything works fine. But what we're going to do is just build this in modules, pull our engines at the front, that'll take us to Duna and back, the modules for a base, orbiting base, and then I want to build a lander attached to it. But with a lander I want to use the mining rigs parts. That way we can refuel it, go to another spot on the Duna, perhaps where there's another Easter egg, and then we can continue with our mission. So it'll be sort of like a long-term goal sort of thing. And I could do this, build this, at the same time I'll do the Minmus village, although it's quite laggy to play, I have to admit. And my computer is not up to scratch with that. It's not the graphics either, because I fiddled with the graphics settings. And in fact I fiddled with more settings, so I'll try the physics settings. I'll try going to the Kerbal village after I've done this. Okay, first things anyway, I'm going to build the main module, which is going to be sort of like the base of it. On the sides of this, I'm going to be docking some pods. Let's in fact try see what that's going to be like. Do I add another fuel tank? Yes, add the small one on there. Again, empty the fuel out because we don't need the fuel. Put this on the side here, again empty the fuel. I'm not sure if this is going to work. We'll give it a go though. Just put it on top, in fact, let's make it a little easier. Okay, what I'm looking for is to have the rounded edge on the outside here. I'm not sure what it's going to look like. As I said, bam, bam, bam. Bring this over a bit. We may need a longer fuel tank. I think we need a longer fuel tank, obviously. Although this may be a bit too long. Again, let's try this again. I know I'll get it at some point. This is quite new to me. Okay, on there. And fuel out. Let's try the route out. Place them straight first. Now we can try the rotation tools. rotate it round, and then displacement tools. Now, how does that look? Let's put it in smooth control. Yeah, I suppose that'll have to do. It's the best I think I can do with that. Because what I want then is to... That looks pretty good. You know, we could have that. This is the control bay. You'd have the... I'm not sure of the pilot seat. I'd have something similar on the other side, or at least a similar weight. I may make a different sort of setup, make it look a bit different perhaps, because I don't want this to be 100% symmetrical, looking symmetrical. So we're going to do copy that. Boom, bum, 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 bum. Ding, down. Okay. Touch that. Ah, that looks good. So we could have this symmetrical or not symmetrical. Let me know, because I'm going to launch the main module first. I'll launch these up in several launches, because we'll attach these to the side. This will be sort of like the main ship where all the Kerbals will be before we're transferred to the lander or to the orbital science base, perhaps. Which reminds me, we do need some science in space, you know. It looks like some guy trying to weightlift, doesn't it? Yeah. Okay, so yeah, I'll have to improve upon this design. So I'm going to stop the recording here. I'll probably go to bed because it's almost 10 o'clock and I got to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, and I'll continue this build tomorrow. Yes, also I have to apologize. Videos are not coming thick and fast because, well, I've been tired and busy. I'm full of cold. Not sure if you can hear it in my voice, but it's something I'm gonna have to think. And I did try to record some episode yesterday where the Minmus and everything messed up, but I was absolutely tired and I could not talk for the life of me. So yeah. Right, just let me know if you want to add your name to this. I'll probably reiterate that at the end of this video. But Kerbal Village is going fine, a bit laggy, so I'm not going to be 100% concentrated on that. But I'll be back and forth with that and this mission. And also we've got the rescue mission with our friend. If I can say it correctly, it's Turan. I think that is getting closer. I think I'm getting better. Anyway, let me know. Oh, this is not the end of the video. I'll cut here. Okay, so after fiddling with the design of our what I was going to call it is Duna Express mission. Yes, I've designed it all except for the polar engines. We'll have to build it up in orbit first, and then, well, I suppose we'll get on with it, I suppose. So I'm going to use MechJev as my ascent guidance, and I'm going to put it to 120 kilometers, something a little odd. Limit force, terminal velocity. Let's get you down to 27, I think. I'm just guessing these numbers at the moment. It should be alright, just limit to terminal velocity. Let's limit it to that then. Okay, engage autopilot in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, launch! Ooh, yes, and also you may notice new Fry Kerman is the one in the pilot seat. Yes, I decided if you guys are going to add yourselves to this Duna Express mission, then we're going to have a Kerbal who knows how to do things with you. Anyway, let's get this into orbit, and I can talk a bit about space news, because normally I do a Kerbal, an engineer talking episode. So here we go. Space news. Don't worry, I won't be doing that every time. Anyway, something I noticed or came on a tweet that I did realise. Probe from the Japanese JAXA Space Agency, which is, the probe is called Akatsuki, and that space probe was meant to go into orbit around Venus. And not only that, this is unique, our story. I was going to talk before about space probe failing and something. And yep, they separated correctly, so yes, excellent. And I was going to talk about space probes failing. This one failed big time. It was meant to get into orbit around Venus in 2010, but its main engine failed mid-orbit, mid-burn, not mid-orbit. So what they had to do, they worked out that they'll be passing by Venus again in the future. And recently, they used one of the reaction control engines that they normally use to maneuver the spacecraft, did a 20-minute burn, and they got it in orbit around Venus. How's that for an amazing engineering feat? You know, it must have taken quite a work calculating. Obviously, they had 5 years to work all this out. So yes, that's awesome. The orbit is not one that they would like, I suppose, but it's an orbit, and they're going to alter it. At the moment, they're at a 440,000 kilometers high, and down to 400 kilometers above the surface. And you may think that's close for those who know a bit more about Venus, because Venus has a thick atmosphere. In fact, the surface of the Earth, and fun fact by here, the surface of the Earth, the air pressure there, is the same as 50 kilometers up in the atmosphere of Venus. So yes, that is, it's mind-boggling that the amount of atmosphere is on Venus. In fact, they think that's what would happen to Earth if they went a runaway greenhouse effect. But don't worry, we won't get that because we're not that close to the sun. The reason why Venus is like that is because any water they had boiled off. Also, Venus does not have a magnetic field like the Earth does, so we're protected as well from harmful radiation, all the other stuff like that. I think let me quickly do settings a minute. I think the music was a bit low, and I had to fiddle with that in my post-process. So I'm going to put the music a bit higher in this, so the sound effects aren't too high as well from the spacecraft. So you have to excuse if the volumes are a bit all over the place. We're in space, we can reveal our spacecraft. Yes, this is the main part. I've been playing with robotics as well, so it can adjust the orientation of this antenna, but I'll show you that as soon as we get into orbit. Because I don't want to mess it up at the moment, because we've got a strut connect into it to try to stabilize everything. So, what they're going to do with this probe? Well, it's going to be studying the atmosphere, I believe. I'm not sure what orbit it's got. I should have checked that beforehand, whether it's in a polar orbit or they've decided to put it in an equatorial orbit around the equator. I think Venus rotates backwards, so it's a bit of an oddball planet. So what they're going to do anyway, this probe, is they're going to reduce its orbit with another burn, which is, I think, it's planned for 2016 orbit adjustments. It's going to bring it down from a 15-day orbit period to, I think it was no, actually it's a 13-day orbit at the moment. It's going to bring it down to a 9-day orbit. So yes, I'm going to keep an eye on that one, because it's using the reaction wheel, so it's possible that if it messes orientation up, because once fuel is removed, because I think they jettisoned some fuel from the probe to lighten it to make the reaction control engines much more efficient, because it's moving less weight. Anyway, I'm going to keep an eye on that. And that's enough about space news. Let's go to KSP news. KSP news. Alright, Squad have finally got a playable version of 1.1 that they can do all testing and final adjustments to the user interface, which they've been having problems with. Yes, they've been having problems with this, with the fact that it's limiting our orbit. In the fact that they were having problems that when they upgraded, they virtually had a non-playable version of KSP. And it took them a hell of a lot of work to get it to a playable version. Now they can finalize it. And I don't know if you've seen screenshots. If you look at the... what do you call it? What do you call it? I don't know. If you look at the blog posts, I think we're in orbit, so I can, in fact, jettison that. Engage the engine. Let's thrust away from it a bit. Don't worry about debris. It will be deleted in 30 minutes. For 30 minutes, it shall self-destruct. Okay, so what let's see. Yes, so what Squad are doing, if you look at the blog post, sorry, I was losing my train of thought. And let's jettison that. Because I want to really show you this. Internal robotics. Yes, adjust that about the way, because it's nicely folded up. And deploy scanner. Isn't that cool? You know, I can think of a lot of things, cool things that you can do with that. So I'm going to retract scanner because I want to, and put that to close position. Anyway, I've set MechJeb on this so we can get deorbit this. Let's get it out of the way first and try not to smash into it. I've lost control. Why won't it allow me to accelerate faster? Limit acceleration. I don't want that on. I didn't even click that. What the hell, MechJeb? Fix your mod. Okay, we're out of distance. Anyway, let's watch this disintegrate within the atmosphere while we finish off on our KSP news. Yes, if you look at the KSP news, if you've seen orbits, in fact, let me have a look. You see this orbit? Or you see the orbits of the moons? You don't know which direction they're traveling. You have to perhaps find the apoapsis and the periapsis and say, oh, well, it's going that way. At least we know the planets are going in an anti-clockwise direction, looking from north. But other orbits, you don't know which way that station's going. It could be going in a different direction that you normally would have. But the new orbits have a nice line. So if it's traveling in that direction, you have a bright line and it dims as you go further back. So now you know the orientation of orbits. I think they're doing that for the contract parts as well. So yes, that's one. That looks absolutely cool. It makes KSP look a bit more professional as a game as well. And hopefully as well, with this version 1.1, let's accelerate time. So one really want to watch this explode. And yes, they got the work ahead of them. But what I would love, what I hope they have done, is I hope they've actually inputted some code that would help them implement multiplayer, as we're doing by here. Because there are some problems like multiple computers, mine will say, oh, this has crashed, while it hasn't crashed on another person's computer. Say he's controlling a spacecraft that has crashed. So hopefully they have, they've implemented something like that. Some code. Yes, that's what I wanted. Explosions disintegrated in the atmosphere at 13 kilometers. So let's go to map view. Where's Duna Express? Close that. Won't let me switch vessels. Perhaps if I come out of time accelerate. Okay, so there you go. If I double click it, it changes. Anyway, and computers run at different speed as well, because also in the net, so they're gonna have to adjust that. Say like my PC, I've adjusted it so that I think I can't remember what the setting is called, delta frame for physics or something, and I put it to 0.04. Whether that's a good setting or not, I don't know. It's supposed to make things run smoother, but it means times run slower. So each second on this game might take longer than an actual second in real life. And if someone has a powerful computer, they run at 1 second per second. So that's one thing they're gonna have to fix, or not fix. Sorry, it's one thing they're gonna have to think about in the netcode for KSP, because doing netcode, if ever you looked at, or is it called? It'll come to me soon. If you ever looked at Space Engineers, that's the one. It has terrible netcode. Well, I won't say terrible, but they have problems with it, especially when you have multiple people in the same save, large ships. Problems ensue. Anyway, I'm going to leave it at that at the moment, because I do not have anything else to talk about on my notes. And all I can say is, let me know if you want to be part of the Duna mission. I'm going to put 2 parts on the side, or a lander on the back, pull the engines on the front, and escape pods as well on the side. So we have a lot of work ahead of us. And I will be continuing with the with the Kerbal village. So if you want to be in the Kerbal village, fair enough. If you want to be on the Duna mission, say so. Anyway, I'm Orbiter. Trust me, I'm an engineer. I am. Yes, I am. Anyway, see you later, good little nuts.